Hello, everybody. I see people starting to roll in here, so we'll just give it a second. I want to say welcome to the Hyperspace Challenge webinar series, and just really glad today to be joined with Josh Carlson from the United States Space Force. He's brought 11 of his friends from around the government that are actively seeking partnerships with universities, just to tell a little bit about what they're looking for and how you can engage with them. So we have a packed show today, so I'm going to just real quick hand it over to Josh so that he can take this away. Thank you, Josh.
Hello, everyone. My name is Josh Carlson. I'm with U.S. Space Force. Very excited to be here. I'll be briefing the University Consortium opportunities. UNP, if you could go next.
Yeah, hey, Lee Jasper. I'm with the University Nanosat program, which is an AFRL directed program, and yeah, happy to be here.
NASA.
Good morning. My name is Dr. Matt Deems. I'm with NASA. I'm here to talk about the Space Technology Research Grants Program.
Yeah, and I joined from NASA as well. I'm John Dankanich. I'm the Chief Technologist at the Marshall Space Flight Center, but also the capability for in-space transportation, so all of your propulsion investments.
We'll go to S1.
Yeah, hey, good afternoon, all. This is Katherine Hayes from Headquarters Space Force, and I'll be speaking on the University Partnership Program today.
Hi, this is Gina Sims on behalf of the Department of Defense. I'm here to talk about SBIR, STTR partnerships and opportunities.
Good morning, everyone. Rahul Singh here from the National Security Innovation Network. Looking forward to speaking with you about our university programs. Thanks.
And I'm Tracy Manor, also from NSIN, the National Security Innovation Network. We are part of DIU and also Department of Defense.
Hi, I'm Eric Lamb with AFRL Midwest Regional Network, basically partnering with small business and industry and our AFRL partners to kind of help guide organizations to work with DoD and the Air Force. Over.
I'm John Luginsland. I'm from the Mid-Atlantic version of the regional network.
Dave Beck from Space Force SSC here in Los Angeles, working with everybody to increase, deploy, adapt, and proliferate opportunities for Space Force to be #1 space security here. Thank you. Super Supra.
Excellent. Last call.
This is Andre Doumitt. I'll be representing SpaceWERX today and some of the programs that we have that combine universities and small businesses.
Hi, this is Rahmney Flowers with the Department of Defense Smart Scholarship Programs.
So getting started, the first one is the Space Force University Consortium. So this particular program is an opportunity for universities to partner with Space Force. We execute this in conjunction with AFRL as well. And this was a congressionally mandated program from about 2 years ago, and we're currently in the process of standing up our efforts. We have 3 of the 5 that have something public facing. The University Consortium is designed to generate revolutionary technologies and seek to transition them ultimately to either the Space Force, to commercial applications. The specific focus areas, there's 5 of them. These are referred to as the Space Strategic Technology Institutes, or SSTIs. There are 5 of them. From last year, we had SSTI-1, which is the first one here, XGEO, which is Beyond Geostationary Orbit, and Space Domain Awareness, or SDA. The second one, In Space Operations, we just finished putting these in the, we just finished kicking off with those schools that we awarded to. ASPP, or Advanced Space Power Propulsion, is currently open. We're in evaluation for that right now. Advanced Remote Sensing, Cyber Mission Assurance, and Data Trust, those don't yet have public-facing efforts for them. In all of these are open calls. We put out a scope of the scope of the technology area that we are looking for with a laundry list of 30 or 40 different technologies that we would consider part of that area. And then we expect teams of universities, at least one lead with at least two partners, and then that triad may further partner with other universities, small businesses, and not-for-profits to come together and form a team. Of that laundry list of 30 or 40 technologies, you don't have to work on all of them. You don't have to touch all of them, but you should put together a combined effort from your various partners that plays to all of your strengths. And that's really what we're looking for. And then we evaluate them via the open process that we post on sam.gov. All of the evaluation criteria are posted when we do that. In the last year, we have done 3, stood up SSTI 1, 2, and then we're in competition for 3. We will see what this next year holds as far as funding and the pace with which we can do that. We would anticipate that each of these technical areas would be persistent areas of technology development, so that we would always have some efforts against them. And when our current efforts against 1, 2, and 3 complete, we would anticipate that we would recompete them. There would be new efforts still inside the scope of those 1, 2, and 3 areas, but the specific technical focus might be a little different. To give you an idea of the scale, so 1, 2, and 3 add up to a scope of about 100 million over the next 5 years, divvied up to the various lead schools, up to 100 million. And on the right there, you see top slide is our kickoff that we just had. This was Texas A&M. This was actually earlier this week. I just got back from this kickoff. This was a picture from CU Boulder's lab. For SSTI 1, we have CU Boulder, Virginia Tech. Those are the leads for that. And then University of Cincinnati and Texas A&M are the leads for SSTI 2 in space ops. And then we haven't automated the announcements yet for SSTI 3, the advanced space power propulsion. The best way to partner with us on this particular program is, as we put out calls, and they'll be through sam.gov, we always try to make sure to label them SSTI, or Space Strategic Technology Institute, and then whichever number it is with these titles, so that it's relatively easy to search.
All right. Good afternoon and good morning, everybody. I'm Dr. Matt Deans from the Space Technology Research Grants Program. Well, thank you all today. The STRG program is in NASA's Space Technology Mission Directorate. We are NASA's tech base for civil space. I will do a gentle plug on some other programs around NASA, but I'm here to feature the stuff that is largely in the STRG program, because these are grants aimed at academia. You can see our website here, our email, and where our solicitations are. Other mission directorate solicitations will be there. And within that, we have what's called our Space Tech Ready umbrella solicitation. This is where we release a lot of NASA STMDs solicitations, as well as all of my Space Technology Research Grants program solicitations as well. Note that I'll do a plug for some of our colleagues from SBIR STTR. NASA also features SBIR STTR solicitations on other websites. Please feel free to refer to those. Many of our participants in STRG also pursue STTRs or partner on SBIRs as well. I'll do a brief overview on our STRG vehicles, but in total, all of our STRG vehicles are grants, but we also have a variety of interaction points with NASA throughout this. We have NASA research collaborators who oversee all of these and engage with university awardees throughout. We tend to have facilitated continuation reviews from many of these, opportunities to present at NASA centers or in key forums, and I'll touch on those by mechanism. Starting at the leftmost side of the spectrum with our NST Grow. This is our graduate research opportunities aimed at grad students, up to 4-year awards, and you can see the solicitation for the breakdown on these. These address all of NASA's Envision Future areas, all of our technology areas. It's really an open call for graduate student research. Moving one to the right, this is our early career faculty solicitation. This is aimed at tenure track professors. Really not partnering on this one, just aimed at the development of one faculty early in their research careers. And then moving to the right, we have a range of other mechanisms that do allow partnering, from our ESI solicitations, our early stage solicitations, one of which is active right now. These are $250K a year, up to 3 years, so smaller efforts, but we allow paid teaming with universities, industry, and nonprofits. And then moving up the scale, we have Luster, which is aimed at lunar surface challenges, but these are shorter duration, higher value grants, really aimed at infusion, and we encourage partnering on this. These are currently up to $2 million total, typically around 2-year awards. And then our largest ones are our STRIs. These are university-led multidisciplinary teams. We have a handful of these underway, ranging everywhere from advanced composites to quantum sensing to scaling of electric propulsion testing. These can have anywhere between 5 universities to, I think we have 13 universities, some with multiple labs in them. One of the engagement points on this is we actually encourage our universities to have institute advisory boards, and we see a number of industry participants participating in these as well, gaining knowledge and insights into these efforts. These are 5-year awards up to $3 million a year. All in all, we have about 300 ongoing awards at any given point in time. We've had over 1,000 awards in our history, and we've touched every technical area within NASA. Again, some of these solicitations are topic-based, and we might not feature every technical area every year, but they tend to rotate through. So we encourage you to look at past solicitations and our current solicitations for some examples. With that, I want to make sure I throw it to John in case John wants to mention anything else in the NASA realm where universities can engage. So that I can take a few questions.
Yeah, thanks, Matt. I'll just follow up on one item that is outside the research grant portfolio, which is we have the dual use technology CAN, which stands for Cooperative Agreement Notice. It's a great entry point for those that are new to working with NASA. This is advertised every 6 months and is open for any U.S. organization, but it's been predominantly academic partners for joint activities with NASA working together on common objectives. These are relatively small awards, typically on the order of $100,000, as these are partnership seedlings before larger follow-on joint efforts. The proposal process, though, is very low burden, with a 2-page white paper for step 1, and then we have near 100% win rate on those requested to submit the step 2 proposals, which is a joint proposal put together with NASA as an open partner.
Thanks, John. And I always encourage people to take a look at our past solicitations on NSPIRES. And if you haven't heard of it, NASA TechPort is another database of a lot of our awards beyond just the STRG program. But if you use advanced search, you can filter by the Space Technology Research Grants portfolio to see what we've done in the past and who we've worked with in the past. Thank you all.
NASA, thank you. Katherine, you're up. This will be S1 briefing the UPP.
Yeah, thanks, Josh. Good afternoon, everyone. Katherine Hayes from Space Force S1D. I represent the University Partnership Program. The UPP is Space Force's program that we stood up back in 2021 as a way to further develop the Space Force workforce. So the UPP, over the course of the last couple of years, we have signed memorandums of understandings agreements with 14 universities across the country. And that's what the map represents on the slide, are our partner universities. Right now, we are stopped at 14 universities just to make sure that we can manage what we do have and resource what we do have with the universities that we have partnerships with. However, that's not to say that this program couldn't and wouldn't expand in the future. So definitely keep an ear out over the course of the next couple of years as we kind of continue to develop this program and get it to a place where it's steady state and we're ready to do that. So what we do, and we work a lot with Josh's team and the CTIO and the University Consortium, to ensure that our partner universities have access to these research opportunities and engagements. But we are primarily focused on workforce development, developing talent pipelines, sending guardians back to school. So I'll hit on a couple of lines of effort that we tend to focus on. ROTC engagement is one of our major points. We work directly with the ROTC detachments at our partner universities to ensure that the cadets are knowledgeable about Space Force and opportunities for careers within Space Force, and that they have the resourcing that they need to ensure that those cadets get that information and they're able to commission quality officers into Space Force. So we're working that. And then on the civilian side, we also work with these universities to ensure that we're getting quality civilian talent directly out of these schools as well into internship programs such as Palace Acquire, Copper Cap, Premier College Internship Program, which allows us to, train recent graduates and students for a permanent position within Space Force and the wider DoD and federal government for a career there. We also leverage several other civilian internship opportunities for recent graduates and students. Some examples would be AFID internships, the Defense Civilian Training Corps, which is a new OSD pilot, the SMART program, which I believe they're represented here today as well. So lots of opportunity for students coming out of these schools with Space Force as a career path. We also leverage our partner universities to educate our current workforce. So because of the technical nature of a lot of the work that Space Force does, a lot of the jobs for officers especially require advanced technical degrees. So we utilize the programs, the quality programs that our partner universities to ensure that our guardians get the education and the knowledge they need to do their jobs and do them well. I mentioned the research opportunities, so a lot of our UPP partner schools are involved in the University Consortium and are leaders within that, so we're really happy about that. And then the final thing I'll touch on is the champion program that we manage. So this is an opportunity for Space Force senior leadership to connect directly with students, faculty, administration at the universities, collaborate on problems and programs, and ensure that the partnership and the relationship between Space Force and our partner schools remains ever changing, ever growing, and they provide a really great kind of boots on the ground, face-to-face interaction for us. I think I'm coming up on my time here, but if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to the workflow email that's on this slide. I recognize that we're not looking to expand this at the current moment, but we're also happy to have conversations about just general university outreach and programming. So please don't hesitate to reach out.
Up next is the AFRL regional networks.
Josh. My name is John Luginsland, and on behalf of Eric Lamb, who is also online, I'd like to talk about the AFRL regional networks. We're changing the conversation about what it means to collaborate. So we started about 2 years ago, and we are a pilot initiative from the Air Force Research Lab to look at building synergies in regions to enhance research, translation, and workforce development. We're 2 separate experiments. One is in the Mid-Atlantic, hosted by Cornell, and the other is in the Midwest, hosted by Purdue. And this regional focus is interesting because although we were doing it first, it's now starting to be a whole of government initiative. You might have seen the National Science Foundation pushing regional collaborations with their engine programs, and the Department of Energy is also pushing public-private partnerships, which are regional. So what we're trying to do is see what we can do to create an ecosystem that combines all the synergies that we need to do translation and transition. So our network includes academia, startups, small businesses, big businesses, and venture capital. We're trying to leverage that entire ecosystem for problem solving and translation. We're trying to build people that are interested in working with AFRL and develop collaborations with AFRL. And even though we're a regional network, we serve all parts of AFRL. And what does it take to get engaged with us? I'll go into some details in a second, but there needs to be mutual interest and engagement from AFRL, high potential for translation and transition, and involve multiple ecosystem partners. If we go to the next slide, I'll show a few more details. I mentioned earlier that we have one network, but it's led by 2 anchors. So we also collaborate across each other. And try to tie what we're doing together. You can see the states that are in the Midwestern geographical area anchored by Purdue. And I'd like to introduce my colleague, Eric Lamb, who is the collaboration director. He's an AFRL employee that can help answer all the questions you might have, either government, academia, small business, big business. And I sit in the Midwest, in the Mid-Atlantic, and you can see our institution and region. We're anchored by Cornell. And in particular, I'd like to call your attention to the bottom of the slide. The Midwest focuses on 4 areas: energetics, microelectronics, hypersonics, and space domain awareness. And all the questions that you might have can be answered in that slide, in that website down at the bottom, including how to get in touch with the Midwest. And similarly, in the Mid-Atlantic, we focus on quantifying performance in extreme environments, edge computing, and complex systems modeling. And our website is seen there, and that is the right way to get in touch with both of us. Or with me. And again, we will work with you. If you have questions on what it means to focus on transition, things like that, Eric and I are here to help grade the impedance mismatch to both the networks. And with that, we'd be happy to take any questions you might have.
So there is a quick question from online. The question is from Scarlett. What if you develop space tech, but you're not in the Midwest?
If you're developing tech, so two questions there. I also see something else in the chat. We are an initial experiment starting off in these two regions. If you have a collaborator in the region, that is, and that's all we need to start having the discussion. So if you do have a collaborator in those regions, reach out to us. We'd be happy to help find you a collaborator in the region if you're developing space tech that would tie into some of the interest of the regional network. For example, I know both networks have focus from the states that we're involved in to create the supply chain for space. And so there's certainly some partnerships we can do there. The second question that I'd like to answer that was in the chat is there an interest in standing up future regional networks? Absolutely. We are the two networks that are there are because that's the funding we had to start the experiment. The right way to think of us is that we're a pilot, and as we move forward and get more resources, we fully expect the regional network concept to spread out to the West, perhaps the Southwest, and perhaps the Southeast. I see a second question in the chat, which is how do we find the right edge computing collaborators? Please go to, for edge computing, that website down at the bottom, Mid-Atlantic, afresearchlab.com, and that can put you in touch with me, and I will help you reach out to the team that we have in the network doing edge computing. I agree with Rahul that we need SoCal. Copy that. We're working it as fast as we can. Both Eric and I raise that issue to our commanding general at every chance we get.
Okay. Thank you very much. And we do need to keep going, but appreciate the questions. Feel free to keep putting them in the chat or in the Q&A box, and we will answer them as we are able. Up next is SpaceWERX.
All right, great, thanks. I'm Andre Doumitt, and I'll be representing SpaceWERX today. So just a little backgrounder. So SpaceWERX was formed in August of 21. It's really an organization under AFRL's AFWERX innovation group. We're also partnered with the Space Systems Command, COMSO, Commercial Solutions Office, and my SSC colleague, Mr. David Beck, will say a few words after I finish briefing the slide. But to give you a sense of where we've been since forming in August 21, we've now got over 40 staff for SpaceWERX. That includes military, civilian, and contractors. SpaceWERX has awarded over 900 contracts, approaching $700 million in awards, and now has an annual budget, SBIR budget of SBIR, I should say, of $457 million. One of our higher profile STTR awards was for the Orbital Prime program, which is in fact ongoing. That was 124 awards, phase one awards at $250K each. So that was a $31 million program. And then they've transitioned into phase two awards, and we actually blended the STTRs with the SBIRs, and looking to then transition those companies into the in-space assembly and manufacturing marketplace as it evolves. So really, this is about the STTR program and how that can help stimulate and create sort of a vector for university technologies to partner with industry and then go through the phase two and then into other new funding vehicles that SpaceWERX has developed, including the tactical financing called TACFI and strategic financing, STRATFI. TACFI is about increasing the technology maturity, and STRATFI is about strategic financing. So that's tech insertion and transition into government programs. A quick word on those government programs. So as we look at where Space Systems Command, which is the acquisition arm of the Space Force, wants to go, there are a set of priority technologies that are in demand and that are often always in demand. And some of those include structures and material science, improved materials, deployable systems, in-space assembly and manufacturing capability, electronics, in-space propulsion, novel propulsion systems, power and energetics. These go across really all systems, battery and solar cell technology, solar sails, satellite communications, laser communications, crosslink, downlink, imaging and optics, laser alternative PNT is actually one of our solicitations right now. Space domain awareness, so detection and tracking of space objects and understanding what they are and where they are. Terrestrial weather, understanding space-based environmental monitoring and being able to better predict weather, better localize it, have longer time horizons for weather prediction. Cybersecurity, these are basically robots in space, so they need to be cyber secured, and also the ground systems. And then anything that reduces the size, weight, power, and cost of space systems, known as SWaP-C. So these are kind of some of the main technical areas of interest. And SpaceWERX is really all about strengthening the industrial base to drive faster technology transition to operational capability. So that's really the key message. I also want to ask Mr. David Beck if he wants to share something about SSIO.
Yeah, I'd like to say Space Systems Integration Office is going through changes to more align with USSF, and part of that is our office, BZY, enabling capabilities. We're part of the greater space involved industrial base effort here at BZY to not only look at the technologies that Mr. Doumitt is talking about from a SpaceWERX standpoint, and also partnering with NSIN and DIU TRL levels and bring in venture capital and public sector funding to collaborate on some levels that DoD has never done since its existence, but also proliferate technology innovation with the universities. I think it's very important. I was talking this morning on the way to work in 1997. I was talking to a recruiter trying to bring in students into the military, and it was difficult for them to recruit students because students did not understand all the different parameters the military offered. Here we are in 2024, and our numbers for recruiting civilian and also military are changing with the ever-changing pace of the private sector innovation. And we have to be aligned so that we can grow this effort. It takes a lot of people to launch a rocket system. It takes a number of people to build a satellite system. And those people start with innovation and the efforts the aerospace, USSF is doing with the UPP program, our partners at NRO, AFRL regional networks, and a number of people who are not on this call today. So I would love to find ways we can do a better job to do that. I do appreciate the students at USC with the Hack for Defense project that Mr. Rahul Singh put together with NSIN. And we need more of those and opportunities so we can do a better job to proliferate not only systems that do the job that we're supposed to do, but also give people opportunities to build these systems in very innovative ways that we have not understood or even thought about at this time. So just to end my discussion, I put in the chat, 2 weeks ago, I volunteered on leave for the International Science and Engineering Fair. That fair goes back a number of years. It used to be called the Intel International Science and Engineering Fair. This year was held in Los Angeles. I represented Space Force in taking my time off to encourage the students as I was part of the machines and artificial intelligence machines and building team of volunteering judges to look at projects from all over the world. I was very fascinated with some of the things these students are coming up with. And actually some of these projects can transition to the university or right to a startup company. And these are high school students, 14 to 18. So I will encourage people and teams and opportunities from the leadership on this phone call through Zoom to please encourage those areas as we look at building out our SBIRs, STTRs, through SpaceWERX, AFRL, and other areas, because the president, CEO of Society of Science approached me and she said she wanted to do more in space. And I would love to see a space sector of projects that we can use to build out the infrastructure we're doing now with NSIN and some of the capstone programs that we're doing with NRO and other areas within the DoD and space areas of innovation. Thank you. Over.
Thank you. All right. Hi, everyone. I'm Gina Sims. I am the director of the Defense Small Business Innovation Research and Small Business Technology Transfer Program. These two programs, you've heard several folks say the acronym known as SBIR or SBIR and STTR or STTR, are congressionally authorized small business set-aside funds that are deemed to support scientific excellence and innovation across a variety of technology areas. The SBIR, STTR programs are ultimately designed to stimulate innovation for the Department of Defense to ensure we maintain technological superiority while working towards increasing the private sector commercialization of research and development. Currently, I have 12 different SBIR, STTR programs that execute over $2 billion a year of these congressionally mandated funds. You just previously heard from SpaceWERX, which is one of the users of those funds. For the purposes of this audience, while this SBIR program requires only a small business to conduct research and development for the Department of Defense, the STTR program requires that partnership with a research institution or a university like you all. Once partnered with that small business, the research institution or the academia sector can participate in the STTR through a three-phase approach that you see on that upper right-hand side of the screen. I think we've had a couple of folks bring up phase ones, that feasibility study, and then the phase two, which focuses more on the prototype like workload. Phase three is our ultimate goal for SBIR and STTR, which is where the commercialization or transition occurs for a program and an output to our warfighters. So how do you participate in STTR? Again, my brothers over on the SpaceWERX side just kind of explained some of that, but starting in FY25 to simplify the funding opportunity announcements to small businesses and you all, I've enabled a simplified solicitation schedule. So starting this October, small businesses and universities can go to the DSIP portal. It's the Defense SBIR Innovation Portal. On the first Wednesday of every month to identify funding opportunities across the Department of Defense. And this includes, again, military departments like the Navy, the Army, AFRL, and SpaceWERX. The STTR benefits to you is most likely in the form of a partnership with a small business. For more information on how to get started or those opportunities, you can visit our website, which is here on the chart. Follow us on LinkedIn. We have a variety of opportunities announced there daily, or you could visit sbir.gov. Pending any questions, that's the information I have for you today. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you so much. I think Josh is still off, so I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next slide. Would the next person please present?
Thank you. My name is Rahmney Flowers, and I'm with the SMART Scholarship for Service program. So the SMART program is a combination education and workforce development opportunity for students pursuing a bachelor's, master's, or PhD in a STEM-related field. If you go to our website, which is listed on the side, you can actually see the 24 STEM disciplines where we focus our funding. As a part of the program, students are matched with a Department of Defense lab or agency. This is where they would do an 8 to 12 week internship in the summer. And then upon graduation, this is a 1-for-1 scholarship for service, meaning once a student graduates, however many years of funding they received, they would agree to provide that many years of funding as a salaried civilian employee for that Department of Defense sponsoring facility. As a part of the program, full tuition for any U.S. accredited university. As I mentioned, there is an 8 to 12-week internship and then the full-time career. The eligibility criteria, you must be a U.S. citizen. We do have a couple outside countries that we do allow citizenship from, the UK, Australia, New Zealand, excuse me, and Canada. And that is due just to the security clearance that's required for the internship and then the full-time employment. Students must have a minimum 3.0 GPA, and they must maintain that GPA throughout their time with the program. You have to be 18 years or older, but that actually, we're adjusting that because we just last year started opening up our program to high school seniors. So students are allowed to be 17 when they start the scholarship, as long as they turn 18 the following January. There is a minimum requirement of 1 year, so you have to be funded for at least 1 year with a maximum of up to 5 years. And that can be a combination. It could be just for bachelor's, it could be a combination bachelor's, master's, or master's PhD. As I said, you must complete the internship, and then upon graduation, you would become that full-time salaried employee. I have some of our social media handles here. If you follow us on Instagram, on X, formerly Twitter, we do post a lot of pictures when we go to different universities. So, you know, we're on campus. We do highlights of our current scholars, so you can kind of get a sense of what students are doing that are in the program currently. And then we also just promote our upcoming webinars. So the application period is open every year from August 1st to December 1st. Once the application opens up, we do a lot of support webinars, helping students get through the application, answering any questions. So our social media handles are good just for information on that. And then just some timeline things. We recently announced our 2024 cohort for our high school student program. That was announced at the beginning of this month of May, and for our college students, that was announced in April. And we actually have an orientation coming up in the DC area in July, where all 500 awardees will get together to meet one another, to meet our leadership, and then also to meet representatives from each of their Department of Defense sponsoring facilities. And so that is it for me. I tried to keep it brief, but if you do have any questions, please let me know. Okay, thank you.
All right. Hi, everyone. I'll preface this with I'm a Marine, so I kept everything just as per Josh's instructions. So sorry, I don't have any graphics, but I'm with the National Security Innovation Network. We are a program office in the DoD reporting into DIU, the Defense Innovation Unit, and we are reporting directly into SecDef. And so this is our talent portfolio. Think all the university projects, et cetera. So our job really starts with getting problem sets from our DoD partners. So all the DoD units we work with, you heard from a few of them, the SSIO, Mr. David Beck. And so we go around the country, and you know, you'll hear from my colleague Tracy, who's in Colorado, and we find problem sets, and we find the universities that have the expertise to solve those problems. And so this particular one is the NSIN X-Force Fellowship, which is kicking off in the summer. Unfortunately, the application window is closed, but you know, for the future, just keep this in mind. We had about 700 applicants for 200 spots, very competitive, and this is a full-time summer internship, paid, that allows two student teams to join a DoD unit for the summer and work on their particular problem set. And so you know, one of the things that we see here is folks go on to really great, you know, it's a pipeline development activity. And so folks go on to DoD jobs and or founding dual use companies. So we're pretty proud of that. Tracy, any comments on the X-Force Fellowship?
So we have a couple of X-Force crews coming out here this summer to Colorado. Really excited. We've got some at the SDA TAP Lab, and they've been really good at sort of introducing the students to each other and letting them form their own networks and, you know, taking them on tours around the place. So I'm excited to see how that unfolds.
Awesome. And I think we have a couple of X-Force students joining SpaceWERX for market research. So not just technical in nature, we're able to do policy, business, as well as technical research work for the DoD and the Space Force. Next slide, please. Hacking for Defense. This was mentioned by Mr. Beck earlier. We did a great project for him around FPGAs. It was started at Stanford by Steve Blanken folks, but it is, it's in several universities around the country. But this one specifically, it's around finding the root cause of a problem. So the students really, take 10 to 16 weeks. They are in the tutelage of a professor who's an expert in the DoD, and they look to interview about 60 to 70 stakeholders of that problem set and come up with a report and or a prototype, depending on what that outcome is. And we really, we've seen some great outcomes from this. So we had about 9 projects at USC represented from all over the services, the Marine Corps, Space Force, Air Force, Navy, and the Coast Guard as well. And so really, have the professors engage them throughout the semester. Unfortunately, we only have this in the spring semester here at USC, but I'm pretty sure if you're interested, we can get some of the other universities that NSIN works with for Hacking for Defense. We can get you some exposure in there. What's really interesting about this is some of these problem sets go on to transition onto other NSIN programs. So let's say the students find some deep root cause on a particular problem set, and it's a hardware problem. We can move it into Maker, which is a transitioning program to take it one step further and keep moving it up the TRL ladder. So pretty interesting program here. Tracy, any comments on that one?
Yeah, so again, the TAP Lab had somebody from USC out there from the Hacking for Defense program. They did such a great job. They all mentioned him by name, and there was sort of a competition on to see who could hire this kid. So really excited to see what he does in the future. But just a note on all of our programs, so they're all DoD funded, so they're free to the mission partner. So if you're a mission partner with a problem, and the problem could be anything, just like Rahul mentioned, it could be something technical, or you could it could be policy related, or we're not sure if we should do this and we need somebody to look into it, or data tagging even. So bring us your problems. And we're also not here to compete. If there's something similar that other organizations do, we'd love to work with you. We're just here to bring additional, people and resources, and we'd love to see how we could work together to use both of our, what we all have to make this system better for everyone.
Thanks, Tracy. Yeah, and I'll double down on that. The way I position our program is, hey, if you're a DoD unit and you have a problem set that you can't work on, or is a bandwidth issue, or is a technical, or an expertise issue, please bring it to us and let us kind of explore that with you. And there are so many programs that we can slot you in. They're just tools, right? Ultimately, we're looking to get to a capability. So thanks. Next one. And NSIN Foundry. This is one of my favorite programs because it's around tech transfer. And so this is really, we get about, 40 to 70 new technologies from federal labs, UARCs around the country. And we pair them up, or we host a matchmaking kind of event where we pair them up with entrepreneurs, MBA students, et cetera, folks that want to take the technology forward and potentially license it. So this is more of an accelerator type program where folks go through, they team up, whether they come in with a team or they team up during the program. They sort of form a team and attack the technology and find use cases in different markets for it. So real dual use program here. And so, you could see you have student and faculty entrepreneurs as well eligible for this. We've seen some great stuff happen. I'll give you a quick example. Axotech. It is a sensor technology to detect fentanyl. And so a team from UCSB was able to take that technology out of a Navy lab, and I was working on it and finding use cases in the counter narcotics world with the Coast Guard as well as law enforcement. So we think it really helps folks that maybe aren't working on a singular original idea, but want to be in entrepreneurship, want to help out our country in developing some technologies and taking it out of our labs. And so we're pretty proud of this program. It is coming up here. July 2nd is the suspense date. So if you have anybody that wants in on this, please reach out to us. Final comments, Tracy?
Well, I was just going to say, back to a comment that I heard earlier, which was about kind of inspiring people to work for the government. I've been working on Azimuth, which is in a pilot program right now. It's a kind of a new version of Hacking for Defense with Colorado State. Some of the comments that we've heard, because our purpose is twofold. One, it's to try to advance the problem for the mission partner, and then it's also to help develop a talent pool. But some of these kids came in because our goal was to get a variety of majors so we could get diverse perspectives on this problem we were working on for special forces. These kids thought it was going to be all theoretical. They didn't know they would actually have Green Berets in the classroom. So it was pretty cool to see a guy jump out of a helicopter, get into a car to talk to them on Zoom, and then go back to the helicopter. And to be able to help him. And what I heard from students were things like, I thought I couldn't morally support the military or anything associated with it until now. Now I see this as completely different. They're real people who are nice and who are trying to just solve problems and do good things for the country. I would say we didn't have a single kid drop from that class. About 3/4 want to work in national security now, and they're seeing that there are a number of ways to serve your country. You can wear a uniform and do it, but you also don't have to, and you can still make a contribution. So sort of winning the hearts and minds a little bit. And then one of the engineering students who made a really cool prototype that Special Forces is actually really interested in. One of the things he said is he felt like this should really be a required course, because they're really craving hands-on opportunities to do sort of real work. And he found that here and was so excited. So we're hoping we can bring more programs there to them. But just wanted to give you a sense of kind of, what the potential is on all of these things.
Thanks, Tracy. Yeah, and I'll close with this. This is a project pretty close to my heart, so I'll share it with this group right here. We did a hackathon in El Segundo. And we've, it was so successful that we got a request from the Pentagon, General Purdy's office, to do another one around generative AI, how it can help space acquisitions. And so this is a pretty hot topic. If any of you are interested, we'd love to team up with you. Tracy and I work very closely together. So our LA Colorado connection is really strong, but we would love for you all to join us if you feel that it's appropriate. Again, this is we're in the early planning phases, but again, hackathons and universities seem to go really well together. And when you have a real problem set and a mission partner that's supporting it, we see some incredible results. With that, we'll take any questions. Please feel free to reach out to us. Thank you.
All right, thank you. So we do have one question here in the Q&A. Is there only a summer program for potential master's PhD funding?
Yeah, in terms of funding, I'll tell you, we fund the actual project. So let's say capstone or H4D, we're able to fund the materials and make sure that it's a funded capstone, but we don't necessarily fund folks throughout the year. That's not in the model.
So what we do bring is access to the mission partners and the problems, and then kind of some structure and some guidance. So like when we're doing a Hacking for Defense or Azimuth, Azimuth has a non-curriculum version and a curriculum version. So we can provide the curriculum, and then the professor is free to like adapt that however we want. Those are the sort of things that we provide funding for, but we don't pay schools to participate or that kind of thing. We do have prize challenges that offer prizes. So that's an avenue that you can go. They're pretty cool. The mission partner brings a problem, and then if we think industry can solve it, then we put the marketing and information out there, kind of a solicitation. We accept applications, then we work with the mission partner to down select and pick the companies that are best equipped. And then it culminates in a demo day, and we issue prize money based on the winners. And then hopefully the government partner brings contracts. That's usually what happens. So that's the big value on it. And they're saying, we just had one with the high altitude balloons, and they were saying, how can we fund this? How can we get 10,000 of those? That sort of thing is the hope for the end result. So we have a number of programs. This just showed you a couple of them. So happy to answer questions if you guys can reach out, and we're happy to read you into the other programs that we have. And then we can hopefully grow it to a higher TRL level and then kick it over to a DIU program. That's our goal.
Hi, folks. My name is Rich Fierro. I'm part of the U.S. Space Command's Academic Engagement Enterprise out of our J7 training section. what we're here today to do is to talk to you guys about what we do and how we're engaging academia for U.S. Space Command. We have 4 goals, and each of which have a myriad of different ways to attack those goals, and that U.S. Space Command is interested in working with academia as we execute the mission of space security problem set, request for some expert in X, Y, or Z, or if you have a request for something, one of our experts. That's kind of what that sharing is about, and creating that future workforce and developing them through webinars, our symposiums, and then also reaching out to make sure the underserved communities are also addressed and have that opportunity to be part of our workforce, whether it's commercial, government, or DoD, or part of our DoD system. That's kind of what we're looking to develop because I think it will give us a bigger bench to pull from. The research for our space folks, we know that students are doing research, have done research. We know that faculty's done research. We want to find a way to kind of make it, streamline it so that our command can reach out and get to that research that may have already been published and it just hasn't been put out there, and it's sitting on a shelf somewhere that we want to make sure everybody can see. So we're reaching out to our member universities for their research that they're currently doing, research that they've previously been doing that they think may be relevant, and that our Space Command folks that ranges from space legal, logistics, you name it, all the things you need to run a kind of a formation or a business, if you will, all those things are needed for space, and all those things are being addressed within our staff. So that's kind of what we're looking for. So the research is pretty broad. We have some topics on our website if you want to take a look at those. And then we have some general areas where you can kind of fit within, which we're not looking at just engineering. We're looking at, as I mentioned before, law, policy, all kinds of different things. So academic analytic partnerships, it kind of goes along the same vein. We're really just trying to establish that partnership. And then strategic dialogue in space. We have asked our members to provide a webinar, and it's voluntary. And so we've had Arizona State University, or University of Arizona, step up and do a webinar for our command. So our folks are receiving the information from academia on what they see is happening, and his happened to be on space domain awareness. And so that allowed the command to receive some kind of leadership development. We're also looking for universities to support any of the specialized training we may need in a command that's partly civilian and green, or I call them green surgers, but military as well. So we have to reach out and kind of look at new innovative ways. We don't have the traditional, the DoD military education system completely set up through U.S. Space Force as they continue to build. We were still reaching out to academia for that support. So our websites, they're listed. Please take a look. We are interested in speaking with students. Yale became a member because we had 6 ROTC students reach out and say, hey, we want to do this. And we asked them to go back to their faculty. And so Yale is a member of our team. We've worked with many schools for mentors and things like that. So the sky's the limit on how we want to do this relationship. It just really boils down to what you want to participate in. And that was at that bottom of the list here. Zero cost. This is just at your discretion.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Thank you again to everybody who joined us. And if you have any questions, in the meantime, you can always reach out to us and like and subscribe and all of that sort of thing. With that, I'm going to say goodbye and we'll see you next time. Thank you all again so much for joining us.